Welcome to This Week in Guns Live, the podcast that covers the latest firearms industry news, information, and buzz, brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network. I'm your host, Nick Humphreys, from the Practically Tactical Show. I am filling in for Jake this episode. Brownells helps makes this show possible. Selection, service, and satisfaction. Find it all at Brownells. Please visit thisweekinguns.com/Brownells. Tell you what, I got an excellent panel lined up. Maybe the best ever. I'm going to call maybe the best ever. Before we start the show, we'll see where we're at after.
I don't know if we're going to go that lofty yet, man.
Yeah, I think it's a fair assessment. I think we can say probably the best ever.
Probably the best ever.
You've got two guys with fantastic hair, me and Ebbs, your beard, and there's Nick.
Then there's me, bringing up the rear.
I do not have fantastic hair at all.
All right, anyways. Let's go to introducing our panelists. Our first guest, a regular on the Practically Tactical Show, we have Sam from Range Time Tactical, a former Marine firearms instructor, and the beard aficionado. Thanks for coming on, Sam.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I'm really glad to be here. First time on This Week in Guns, so it's going to be a pretty cool show. Looking forward to it.
I think these are all new panelists for on the show, so it should be a good time. Next up, we have Ebbs from House of Guns. If you don't know him or who he is, please check him out. Awesome guy, awesome YouTuber as well. Ebbs, thanks for coming on, man.
Hey, glad to be here. Glad me and my hair could join you.
Well, you definitely are making definitely making the show more beautiful.
Well, you know.
And then, of course, speaking of beauty, we have Adam Pini, VP of Sales for American Defense Manufacturing. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me. And I think this is like my second time on here. It's either second or third. I've done it with Jake a few times. So, yeah, I love being back and always fun hanging out with you guys. And, yeah, glad to do it.
All right. Well, let's move on. We have a couple show announcements here. For you guys that aren't familiar with Practically Tactical, please check us out, as well as we launched a new show called Practically Tactical on Target. It's now on iTunes. Basically, it's company interviews about certain products or services. Check that out. If you're wondering why you're not hearing Jake right now and wondering and questioning why everything is in your head is sounding wrong, Jake's taken the month of June off. Check the show notes out at thisweekinguns/072, and I link to Gun Guy Radio where Jake discusses it. Also, guys, there's been a lot of firearms industry news outside the industry kind of going on, and the only part that we're going to be touching on that is in the show notes. I have a link to the Joe Wilcox Fund, the person from Las Vegas. Please check that out. If you guys can donate anything, please do that. I think it's very important in the group that's doing it. I personally know, and it is vouched and verified that all the money will be going to his family. So please check that out, and if you can donate, please do. I think that's very important for us in the firearms industry to support him and his family.
Last night on Practically Tactical, Nick and I talked about active shooter scenarios and how Joe Wilcox is a true hero, guys. And if you read any official statements from the Las Vegas PD, you'll know that he did engage the active shooters with his firearm, stood his ground, and did good things, man. The guy's a hero. He died a warrior, and we need to step up and help him out if we can, his family out, rather. So go ahead and do that if you can.
All right, guys, let's move on to our top stories here. Our first one is the just announced this week. We have the HK VP9, the newest striker fire pistol, the striker fire pistol, I should say, from Heckler & Koch. They announced it. Striker fire. Who's on board? Who's going to run out and buy it? Nobody. Okay. So for those that aren't familiar with it, it is a polymer-framed striker fire pistol, chambered 9mm. It's a duty-sized handgun, slightly larger than a Glock 19 and slightly smaller than the M&P 19. Heckler and Koch. Sorry, get that straight there. So
I'm just glad you didn't say the other option.
What, Heckler?
No.
Any thoughts on the gun?
I mean, welcome late to the party.
Yeah, that's well, yeah. Welcome late to the party. You know, how about you get your bore axis a little lower?
Well, it's funny. I had a conversation with a couple industry guys months ago, and one of them had went to HK USA in Virginia, and they were talking about how they're kind of faltering in the military and law enforcement with drawdowns in the military and money being really tight for them as well as law enforcement. there's only one place to ever make a gun company successful and continue to thrive, and that's in the commercial market. And one of the first things I told them was like, let me guess, they're gonna bring a striker fire gun for about $500 or $600. He's like, yeah, there you go. So that's all it is them a way to get a good foothold into the commercial market. And I'm sure it'll shoot good. I've shot a lot of HKs and they do shoot good. They just do have a higher bore axis and their customer service is meh at best.
Yeah, I think that from the grip design that I look at, it feels a lot like the Walther PPQ, or what I'm assuming it will feel like.
Hey, somebody said
and it's a great handgun, and I think it feels great in the hand. We've had quite a few students come through with those particular handguns, so I mean, I'd be excited to get one in my hands and take a look at it, but I'm not going to rush out and get on a waiting list to pick one up, to be honest with you, because I'm very happy with my Austrian-made striker-fired handguns.
I'm surprised that they didn't leave something obvious out, like just to kind of give the finger to their audience a little bit more, like, hey, we're HK, we gave you a striker-fired pistol, but it's a single stack. You know, I mean, I'm just kind of surprised that it's and when I first laid eyes on it, I think the first place I saw it was Gear Scout or something. But when I first laid eyes on it, I thought, oh, good, they're taking a page out of Ruger's book and making guns that look exactly like guns that somebody else made first, i.e., the PPQ. I mean, it's like not just the grip. I mean, the curvature to the top of the slide and everything, it looks awful similar to it. So, hey, thanks, HK. We're glad you could be even later than Sig was to the striker-fired party.
Adjustable back and side straps. Any thoughts on that?
Just more customization, man. I think it's kind of cool. Then again, not anything that a custom grip job couldn't, achieve. So, there you go.
All right. Well, we'll move on to our next story here. And how many of you guys have Google Glasses?
No.
All right. We are on.
What is Google Glasses?
What Google Glasses is?
No.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So this is going to be geared toward Adam and Ebbs here. So a new technology weapons firm has Google Glasses to allow shooters to aim and fire around corners. So basically,
Google Glass, not glasses. Google Glass. I know what that is.
Okay.
It's the glass that you wear and it goes over your eye like this, and you can.
Hey, HK, thanks for being late to the party.
Is that what you think now?
Basically, it allows you tracking point manufactures the weapon and the technology, and basically it's called the shot view, and basically it replicates what your optic is looking at into the Google Glass, or glasses if they're plural if you're using multiple ones.
Has anybody here played with any of the tracking point stuff? No. Outside of me, as completely transparent, I've shot them before.
I've held it in my hands.
The thing I find hilarious is that they're absolutely trying to take the shooter out of the whole equation. So it's very much video game-like. You're literally turning the gun sideways and pulling the trigger. You're taking all the skill out of it to do a very remedial task. It's going to be. They're unbelievably expensive. I mean, to get a tracking point system, the rifle is like $40,000. I mean, it's absolutely astronomical. So you're talking, you're going to spend $10,000 on the optic, whatever the astronomical cost is for Google Glass. It's like $2,000 now.
Adam, one person can afford that, and his name is Dan Bilzerian.
Yeah, that dude balls hard.
I know, for real. He does.
Something really crazy. Go on NSSFjobs.com.
Yeah.
Or it's like NSSF Jobs, and Tracking Point was hiring sales guys with a salary of $100,000+ a year.
Holy crap!
I had like 3 guys that before I made the move I did were like, "You should probably apply for this. You can make it." I'm like, "Yeah, I know they got a high turnover rate because it's going to be really hard to sell Ferraris to guys who can afford Corollas in a downturn economy." I'm like,
"Oh man, not a good idea." I would just become, if I work for that company, I'd try and become personal friends with Dan and all his friends to make sure I can sell enough to make my quota. So,
like, Sam, what's your job? Personal sales rep to Dan Bilzerian.
I'd be okay with that. What's your job? My job is to call firearms companies and just throw money at them so they send guns our way.
I would send.
This is Dan's money. Send it. It'll be on Instagram with hot chicks.
So, Ebbs, any interest in this at all?
I mean, no. The tech stuff is cool. I want to be hands-on when I'm shooting, and what Adam said is a little bit freaky. Let's take all human element out of shooting so that we can create something that only people who aren't real shooters can afford, and then are handling dangerous firearms. That don't. Yeah, at great distance.
All I can say is #Skynet.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I mean, I think it's cool that it's been imagined, and when I saw it at Range Day this year at SHOT Show, it seemed like, or was it this year or last year? No, I can't even remember. It was last year, 2013.
The first day was last year.
Yeah, 2013 was the first time I saw it at SHOT Show Range Day. But the presentation was based on hunting and making the most ethical kill. Now, either that was a political friendly manipulation tactic to get funding, or so they said, well, let's present it this way because it's going to appeal to the hunter market, and then it'll make people who don't hunt happy because now we're taking human element out of it. There's less error, less wounded animals. But here's the thing: you're not going to make anti-hunters happy unless you're not hunting. So it's not like we're all of a sudden being more fair about the type of hunting we're doing. We're still killing animals, and that's what anti-hunters have a problem with. So even if that was, I mean, that whole comment was based on a hypothetical. But I mean, with the Google Glass presentation, Nick, like you're talking about, I think the idea is keep our guy out of harm's way and be able to shoot. It's like let's trump the corner shot sort of thing. So,
but I mean, when you look at that technology, sorry, please.
No, go ahead. I was mostly done. I was actually fishing for something else to say.
Yeah, when you look at that technology, I mean, are you really going to replace solid tactics and skills with working corners and using cover effectively to shoot around corners? I mean, are you really going to do that? Is that worth spending $40,000 for?
Well, and
we can spend less than a tenth of that to train the guy to use corners properly and use cover and be able to shoot at that angle.
Yeah, but that's not Call of Duty spray and pray, bro.
This is true. Yes.
But it's still a technical item that can fail, though. It's not. I mean, it's not foolproof. So what happens if the operator who is trained to use this effectively has this tool and it goes down, and they have now in front of them a perfectly working firearm that
they don't know how to use.
They can't execute properly. Exactly. Yeah. So this dude has spent more time mastering that tech than he has actually running the firearm. Then you've got a whole new set of problems because that stuff will fail.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny. How new is that tech actually? I mean, all we're talking about technically is laser locking, which has been on helicopters for years. All they've done is shrank it down and put it on a firearm. I mean, it's not absolutely new tech. It's just
but it's not a laser-guided bullet that can be, adjusted its trajectory in path like missiles can from helicopters.
But you're still talking. It takes into everything into effect. It takes altitude, humidity, pressure, curvature, earth. I mean, it does all those adjustments so you get the most predictable shot with specialty ammunition that you have to shoot with the gun. I mean, and you have to. The gun will only fire until it's perfectly locked on what you set.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to be honest now. This show feels ridiculous without a helicopter pilot. So I think I'm gonna log out. So.
Well, let's move on to our next story here, and this one I'm kind of a fan of. So, car breaks ground on a new facility in Pennsylvania, marching out of New York. This article from Guns.com. And the thing I really liked about this was they specifically cite why. They just said this is because of the Safe Gun Act gun control package in New York. And I actually like a company coming out and saying that this is why elections have consequences. What do you guys think?
It's Magpul in New York, right?
Yeah.
Has Magpul pulled out yet?
Yes and no.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. I'm glad to see somebody actually stepping up and doing what they said they were going to do and actually make good progressive steps to get out of there in a timely fashion instead of dragging it out. I mean, all they're doing is hurting the business by being there. When they say they're going to leave, they might as well just do it, pull the trigger, and get out as quickly as they can. So,
I honestly don't know if Magpul should have ever said that they were going to leave. I don't even know if that was the best decision for them, to be honest with you. That may be a different discussion for another time. But Carr breaking ground on a new factory and a new facility in Pennsylvania, I think it's great for the people of Pennsylvania to be able to have access to those kind of firearms in their own state and have those extra jobs there available to them. And I'm sad for New York. I'll tell you what, I'm sad for the people from New York. I have family that lives in New York, and I mean, none of them work in the industry, but then again, there's still smaller jobs that are involved in the supply of those industries that may be losing out on the business that Carr may have provided in that aspect. So, good on Pennsylvania, bad on New York.
I hope that it's the type of scenario where a lot of the people where what Carr did was set up a lot of those employees they had in New York to be able to move with them, just to where they made that feasible. Sure, if they didn't want to, a lot aren't going to want to relocate. But I think, any of the polymer-fired cars I've always liked. I thought they were great pistols. They're simple. They're excuse the term, Glock-like in a lot of ways. But I think one thing that we've seen when a lot of places relocate or change ownership or basically set up all over again is they bring in new employees, people who have less experience or haven't been doing this, and then we see a decline for a while in the quality of firearms. Now, I understand the political statement. I think it's necessary, and I think it's awesome. I hope that move is I hope it's beneficial for the employees that they had also, because you hate to see those people punished just because of the ignorance of the state legislator.
I think you're right on that point with the jobs. We'll move on to our next story here. Is this the part where, if you're a gun owner in California, should you just raise the white flag on this? Nearly 300,000 Californians voted for State Senator Leland Yee. If that name rings a bell, yes, that is the guy, the state senator that was arrested on smuggling in automatic firearms and RPGs, and 300,000 people voted for this guy when he's currently under federal charges.
I mean, Merriam-Webster's dictionary should literally consider putting a picture of Leland Yee in their dictionary next to their definition of hypocrite. That's what it should be.
It's so perfect. You're exactly right. And Lord bless the people of California. So many good shooters out there, but how can you allow yourself to be surrounded with so many idiots? These 300,000 people are going to vote and have voted for this character. It can't not be funny. It's just hysterical.
And
that's all I have.
And here's something on this part too: is there was a poll done before the elections that, in the face of the May elections, 84% of California voters were concerned about corruption in their state legislature.
Yeah, were they really?
Well, the other 16% are the ones who voted for him.
Yeah, for real though.
That's awesome.
I don't even know, man.
I mean, I'm sorry, Californians. I really love you guys, except the ones who have screwed up Colorado. But I mean, really, this is awesome.
I mean, really, we need to take a look at that. A look at those kind of areas of the United States as a whole in the industry. Like, look at what we're doing out there. I mean, there's still companies that operate out there. Salient Arms still has a pretty big footprint out in California. That's where they operate out of, and they do a lot of custom firearms for the industry. They're very high profile and very, boutique styling and stuff, but they still operate out of California. They're a custom weapon house that does stuff in California, which is crazy just to think that they do those kind of things in that state.
Fire is still there, and they make silencers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's absolutely asinine what goes on in that state.
And here's the thing too: it's not like he was actually out running. He tried to drop off the ballot and couldn't, and he wasn't out there vote for me, and yet 289,000 plus people voted for the guy.
So people didn't even know who they were voting for. They just knew, oh, well, Leland Yee was our senator before, so we'll just vote for him again. Do you realize he was arrested and is currently brought up on charges for freaking, running guns, and not like pistols, like hardcore, like RPGs and AKs and like stuff like that, man. Not running like high points. He's running AKs.
Yeah, this is real deal.
And he wasn't even running
Asian arms dealer. Like, no offense to him out there, but that's what he is. Like that's it.
Well, I mean, for me, I think
Mr. Chow.
It's a movie. It needs to be a movie.
Yes. What's the Jackie Chan movies? What's the Jackie Chan and
Chris
not Chris Rock?
The Rush Hour movies?
Rush Hour.
Like, this is the plot for Rush Hour 5, isn't it?
I think so.
But here's the thing: it wasn't like it's like not the incumbent power thing. He was running for a different seat, like the Secretary of State of California. 300,000 Californians voted for him.
Voted for him. Yeah, that's just. I mean, that blows my mind.
It's precious.
I mean, yeah.
But let's move on to something here that maybe I'm wrong in hoping this happens, but we have an article on Truth About Guns about the coming crash in ammo prices, which I love. So basically the article is saying about the Obama caused, and I don't know if that's the correct term, but bubble in ammunition prices, and they're ready to burst. So obviously we've seen this, hoarding and all this other stuff, and ammo manufacturers just been pumping out as much ammo as they can. So they're talking about this burble.
I'll tell you what, man. Bursting. I'll tell you what. As a guy that buys a lot of ammo, I don't have a problem finding reasonably priced 5.56 by 45 ammo or 9mm Luger ammo. I don't have a problem finding reasonably priced. And by reasonably priced, I mean anywhere from 25 cents a round or less to no more than 29 cents a round for 9mm, which is pressing it for me. I don't want to pay much more than that per round. And for 5.56, anywhere between 30 and 35 cents a round. I don't have a problem with that. There's so many places out there right now to find that. I don't shoot .22 long rifle a lot. I have guns chambered in them. I do use them for for private training. Whether we have someone who's very new to guns that needs to shoot someone with a little less recoil to, for lack of a better term, become less afraid of firearms. But I don't have a problem finding ammo at that point. The only time that I'm worried about is trying to look for .22, but I don't really need to look for .22 because I have enough. I don't have 100,000 rounds or that many saved back. I have a couple thousand rounds that I've had over time that I don't go out and shoot a lot. Every weekend I shoot bigger calibers. I train with the calibers that I fight with, so I'm not really worried about that. That being said, a crash in ammo prices I'd be kind of excited about because I could pick up some more ammo on the cheap. So,
yeah. So Adam, do you think that this bubble is going to pop on ammo prices?
Absolutely. Every bubble pops. It's just how long can it run out for? The rifle bubble popped 6 months ago, 8 months ago, right before SHOT Show, and ammunition was going to fall. It wasn't going to be right after that. It was going to be a little while off. And honestly, we'll see ammo probably drop down to pre-Obama, like the first election. We're probably going to see them tank that hard, which is pretty cool. Because supply is going to be up so high that people are like, we just got to get it moving.
So what's it going to take? What's it going to take to get the ball rolling, though? Because I think we'll have to see it. Because what you have are whether it's big box stores, online retailers, whatever, they're sitting on all these chunks of ammo, most of which paid too much to get, right? So they could have stock, or are they just the price is just too high and they'll just finally say, okay, we'll just sell it for what we have in it, so we need to get rid of it or whatever. What happens to make that start?
What's going to happen is time. The longer this stuff sits on their shelves, the less amount of money they have. So they'll get to the point where they're like, fuck it, pardon my language, I'm really sorry, I shouldn't have swore there, but they'll get to the point where they're like, we'll take a loss on it to move it, to get new product in, to get it at a better price that we might mark up a little bit to make up for the difference. That's big box stores work. So we'll see that over time, and it'll keep folding until it gets to the point where it's hit the absolute bottom, where the market can handle production and price, where people will be like, okay, it's cheap enough to start buying in quantity, and we'll get back on to where it is. The market will level itself out at some point. It's just going to take time.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Adam Pini has experience with free market economics. There you go, right there. Boom.
Yep.
The market will dictate the appropriate price, okay? And it's gonna come to that. It's gonna come down to the people that are buying the ammo, basically through their purchases, dictating what the price will be. All right, what people are willing to pay is what the price will be. That's why, back in December, January, February of 2012, 2013, people were willing to pay outrageous prices for ammunition and firearms for whatever reason they justified with themselves. And now it's to the point where they're not willing to pay that anymore, and the prices are going to come down. That's the way it works, man. That's great. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a good time. We're definitely going to get back to where and the good thing about that is it will actually cause guys to be like, okay, I can afford to shoot. I can buy some more guns. And it's going to help, the firearms industry. We had a record year last year, one that'll never be topped again. But that wave got to the peak and dropped. And we're on the downturn. And we haven't even hit the bottom. You're going to see a lot of companies wash out because they sprung up during the craziness. Like, we'll ride this wave forever. And it doesn't. The housing market pop, credit bubble pop, guns, ammo, it's all going to come full circle. And we'll get to the point where it's like, okay, these are all affordable guns, affordable ammo, and we can live and shoot and be back the way it was.
Can all of us right now sing "Circle of Life" together?
Dude, I can't.
It's
I
the
can't even.
circle of life.
The one guy.
I cannot wait.
And it
Start buying
moves
1,000 rounds of AK-762 for $150 again. That's gonna be awesome.
Wait, did I just get muted?
Yes, you did.
Did I just get...
Yeah.
Whoa.
It was
Did we
bad.
start that?
It was
Did we
bad.
Start that? For everyone listening to the podcast right now,
Yeah.
I would just mute it by the Firearms Radio Network, hosted by Nick Humphreys at Practically Tactical. Just so you know.
And this part will never make the podcast. So let's move on to our next
It
story
will.
here.
It will make the podcast.
And I think this is one that, God, finally it's nice to see. So the House of Representatives have passed an amendment to defund the Department of Justice anti-gun program called Operation Choke Point.
What?
Basically, for those that may not be familiar with it, basically it was the Department of Justice and I think partly part of the ATF as well were basically putting the screws to banks, lending stuff to basically almost theoretically shut down the purchase of firearms. So I think this is really good. It's good to see something positive come out of D.C. Seems when there's very little. What do you guys think on this one?
Ebbs, you can go first.
No, I just thinking. I thought it was funny that he said something positive come out of DC.
Very rarely does that happen.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
As a guy who works for a firearms manufacturer, the best thing that those guys could do is go to small local banks. They'll take your business just as much as the next guy will. If the people don't want your money, don't give them your money. Vote with your dollar and take it where you're appreciated. The bank we work with, they stop into our facility to see how they're doing. They set up personal accounts for us. I mean, it's crazy. I've never had a bank that has that supportive of a gun company. I mean, even in my previous job, that never happened. And we bank with a good local banking that is a little bit big, but it's still small compared to everybody else. That's what I say is, if they don't want your money, don't give it to them. Vote with your dollar. Take it someplace else.
Well, I think this is a big win for consumers too, because basically these types of laws, all it did was, of course, as usual, only affect law-abiding, citizens purchasing legal firearms, and so it's removing this, whole basically policing customers of what they can and can't buy. So getting rid of this, I think, is a big win. But now let's move on to actually, of all places, have Media Matters, which is the only time that's ever going to happen. They have an article, this is many out there, but the NRA apologizes now for the original statement of calling the Open Carry Texas guys downright weird, and says now the statement was a mistake. So, Ebbs, I'll hit you here first. For one, what do you think about what the NRA came out and said? And then, secondly, what do you think about their second statement on said subject?
Okay, first thing, great job on the topics tonight. This stuff is cracking me up. I mean, just we're reading the titles and it's funny stuff. I think they said what they meant and what most were thinking, but there were enough open carry activists who freaked out. Hey, you want open carry? That's fine. Just don't be a douche, okay? But
I think that's the normal. That's the rule for life. Dude.
That,
The rule of life.
yeah, okay. There were
do what you need to do, but don't be.
There were enough that were like sticking it to the NRA that they were like, okay, we have to say something about this. So they got to say what they wanted, and then did the PC thing and issued a statement saying, hey, we're sorry, we're on the same team. So I mean that's what I think happened. Anyway. You could say a dozen other things along with that, and they would probably all be true.
Adam, what do you think?
I think it just shows that the NRA, as much as we love them, could still be hypocrites. I mean, we all thought the same thing. It was stupid. I'm all about, your Second Amendment right and to live your life as free as you can. But honestly, you shouldn't trample on the rights of the other people to live their life as free as they can. And they don't want it thrown in their faces. If I'm in the dinner with my kid and you walk in carrying an AK or an AR, first thing I'm doing is I'm going to index I'm going to sit there and posture up because I don't know what you're doing and who you're there. Because it's not normal behavior to roll into a restaurant with a full-blown long gun. I don't care who you are.
No.
The first thing my mind goes is, yeah, that's not normal thinking. With the outbreak of recent shootings, people like us that train, that are proficient, should be on the edge to always be constantly aware.
Absolutely, bro.
And I think it's poor taste, and I don't support it. I mean, I support your right, like I said, support your right to do what you want and live your life how you want. That you need to be more smart about it.
Do you think the NRA should have come out and apologized?
No, I think they should have stuck their ground and been like, yeah, this is our view. You don't like it, you don't have to like it.
What about you, Ebbs? Agree?
Adam said it better than I did.
Sam, agree?
I'm right along these same lines as Adam is. Like, there's nothing I don't disagree with what he said. I think that the NRA should have literally even one of two things: should have not said anything about it, not even come out with a stance for it, because they have clearly made their stance in the past. Or they should have said, that this is their right, this is their legal right to do that, this is in line with the Founding Fathers' intention of the Second Amendment, and if you don't like it, well, tough, Then again, those guys that choose to carry long guns into public places, like I said, again, it's their right to do that, and that's totally up to them, but, us that have more training with dealing with these kind of situations, will posture up. I'll be the same way if I'm in a restaurant and a guy, or in the mall, or in Kroger, or wherever, and a guy or a group of people, better yet, walk in with long guns slung across their back, or at the low ready, or whatever they're doing, walk in and start taking pictures, or whatever they're doing. I'm gonna posture up. I'm like, okay, well, what are these guys doing? Like, what? I mean, be very, very aware of them and what they're. And how they're acting and what they're doing, and I'll either make a judgment whether I need to leave, or whether I need to, move away, or whether I need to just ignore them at that point. And again, it's their right to do that, but I don't think that it's the best decision at the time. And people can be mad at me for saying that, but so what? That's my opinion.
Well, I would say I think the number one rule for open carrying is if your SKS is taller than you, you probably should not open carry it. I think that's the number one rule, isn't it?
Yeah, that's unspoken. It's unspoken.
Yeah. Unspoken.
I thought first rule was don't
SKS must be taller than you.
All right, this next story really, really irritates me. And Sam, I think, because I know you might lose on this one. So back to California here. California Democrats bring a, quote, pause for safety gun control bill to U.S. Congress. Of course, friend.
How would I possibly lose on this?
Oh, no, you lose it.
Oh, lose it. Okay, yes.
So obviously, good friend of the show, Dianne Feinstein.
Good friend of Truth of This Week in Guns.
Yeah. Well, she's
long-time
been on
listener,
a lot.
First-time caller.
She's on the show a lot. Basically, what this is yourself or family or whatever can go to court and basically get a temporary confiscation of a person's firearms.
No.
It's basically what this law is.
No.
It does three things, and I'll read it here, then I'll let you get on it. So one, this is what they have. It would ensure that families and others can go to court and seek a gun violence prevention order to temporarily stop someone close to them who poses a danger to themselves or others from purchasing a firearm. Of course, without due process. I'm adding that in there. Two, it would help ensure that families and others can seek a gun violence prevention warrant. So I'm assuming that's arresting someone without due process. That would allow law enforcement to take temporary possession of firearms that have already been purchased if a court determines that the individual possesses a threat to themselves or others. Third point. 3. It would help ensure that law enforcement makes a full use of all existing gun registries when assessing a tip, warning, or request from a concerned family member or other close associate.
No.
Worst thing ever?
Let me say this. There will never be a time in the United States when it is okay for law enforcement officers to enter an individual's private residence and confiscate their firearms unless they have committed a crime and have already been charged with it. There will never be a time when that is okay, ever. So,
to me, this seems like Minority Report.
Yeah, I like the thought crime.
Like arresting people before they. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
That's
that.
good.
How about instead of using the force of government to do something, quote unquote, to protect your family, how about you take it upon yourself? How about you take it upon yourself to go ahead and make sure that you're secure from whatever threats you may have towards you in your life? How about that?
Well, here's the problem with that is we become such a nation of worrying about what the other guy thinks and the mob mentality, the group mentality, that we forgot to just worry about our own business.
Yep.
You know, when we grew up, it was one thing. When you're coming back home, you tell your parents, "Oh, such and such is down the street." What did your parents say? "Mind your business. It's not yours." That's what we need to get back to.
Well,
Don't worry about what the other person does with a gun. You need to worry about how you handle it in your family, affecting your people.
Well, and with this stupid legislation presentation stuff, we keep going in massive circles of where were we 18 months ago after Sandy Hook? We have to get our mental health system correct. We have to fix things. We have to address this too. And we've done nothing. There's been nothing else. And here we are back to one teenage sob story. I realize the Santa Barbara situation was a little bit older than that. Here's a life of, I'm rich and I don't get everything that I want, and my life sucks, and so I'm going to kill a bunch of people because of it. And we forget about the knife, forget about running people over. Let's immediately say that because gun people make me feel unsafe, they're the ones that I get to take away their personal possessions.
We have to do something about the guns, man.
We have
to
to
do something about the guns.
And then what happened? And we become so desensitized and hardened to the reality of just being peppered by the media with these mass killings, okay? Because that's what they are. They're not shootings. These are mass killings. This is someone who's made up their mind to take someone else's life, and they, whether it's a knife, whether it's a car, whether it's a gun, they're going to use whatever means they have at their disposal. We're going to just pepper people's television sets, put it in front of people, because let's be honest about our general culture here. Not only do we have a mental health problem, we have a health problem, we have an activity problem where our greatest sense of worth and being is in front of the television. And so we pepper these things in front of people over and over and over, so much so that it's on there enough for another whack job to say, well, he got made a celebrity for his actions, so I'm going to get attention when I go out and do the exact same thing. It doesn't have to be the exact same story. It doesn't have to be the exact same situation with the person who decides to take a life. But every time, and forget about the fact that our nation just traded 5 terrorists for a traitor. Okay, in the midst of this,
that's topic for a whole other episode.
And I feel the same way, and I'm getting pissed just thinking about it. But forget about that, okay? forget about that and all this going on that has the spotlight on Washington, but now we have something that's drawing the attention away from it, and the media's helping them out with it. And then we have these copycats that pop up 3 or 4, whatever, since the Santa Barbara murders, or the Fort Hood Part 2, if you want to wrap that into it also, come along within 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks afterwards, and we experience the same thing all over again, and people get hysterical about guns because it's insanity. How could forward-thinking, modern citizens own guns? It's so savage! What are we thinking? We are setting other citizens up to murder people every time they walk out of a gun shop with one of these. Because I know.
Oh my God! Look at that grip stop. It's so killing.
How about it? It's the mod 2. Okay. Forget
Embrace
about that
the radius, bro. Embrace the radius.
Totally. I'm just this California legislation that you just brought up is a perfect example of people's inability to think for themselves, people's inability to take responsibilities of themselves. And we're talking about taking responsibility of our safety. If we're talking about being armed Americans, we're responsible for that. But we're also talking about people being responsible for their own kids, okay? Yep. Being responsible, like Adam said, to worry about ourselves and fix our own selves and be prepared if someone hasn't fixed themselves or hasn't taken responsibility for themselves. Instead, we want to regulate and we want to choke everybody else so that the sick people win. This is absolute madness. I cannot fathom.
I feel like you're plugged into my brain right now, and you're saying what I'm thinking.
I cannot fathom the ignorance of people that have been voted for and or continue to vote for, and at the same time, other Americans, us, whether it's Second Amendment, Constitution in general, we don't speak out. We don't speak our mind. We don't give our opinions because we're afraid that the other side is going to win, or they're just going to continue to beat us down. But I'll tell you what, the wrong people don't know that they're wrong, and so they just keep banging the same drum until eventually the people that are right give up. And that's what has happened. That is exactly why our country is where we are. That's exactly why we have a leader who is treasonous and by all points of consideration probably hates America. And he's still in office. He just gave terrorists responsible for the death of other Americans back to their people with the slap on the hand and the understanding that, you know, you guys can't go back and do everything you did before, okay?
You can't do it, even though we all know good and darn well that they are. And that by doing that, we've directly put human lives, American lives, at risk.
Yeah.
Did everybody just hear that right there?
Best panel ever. That's all I'm saying.
Dude, I'll tell you what. I'm just... And here I am, and I have guns sitting around me in here, and I'm pissed off. And I haven't shot anybody because of it. I mean...
Oh my gosh! Look at that. You just went on a rant and you didn't pick up a firearm and kill someone. Wow!
I didn't. He just went on a rant and a gun didn't kill anybody.
While I was screaming.
While he was screaming, a gun didn't get up behind him and go shoot a bunch of people.
No, it didn't.
It proves that it's not the machine; it is the human animal that makes decisions. No, it blows my mind. It's like saying, you know, guns kill people is the same way that I'm fat by, myself. It's ridiculous. I chose to be this way. I eat the fucking tasty cakes I want. It's my choices. It boggles my mind that people will instantly be like, it's the gun's fault. It's the gun's fault. No, it's not. It's the person who made what they think to be a rational decision to take another human's life for no reason.
And there are more effective tools. I mean, you know,
dude,
what? Let me go online, find a few pipe bomb recipes, and I'm going to roll up on a Waffle House. If they're busiest, when's a Waffle House busiest? I don't even know. Probably midnight.
Like 1 in the morning.
And I'm gonna kick the door open. I'm gonna light the fuse, and I'm gonna toss the thing and get in and drive off. And that Waffle House doesn't have cameras. I mean, why do I need a gun if I want to do that? Come on,
people
guys.
that have, you're right, Ebbs, people that have violent intentions like that want to commit horrible acts of violence and for some reason have justified with themselves, they want to kill people to make their point. They're not gonna stop at a lack of guns to do so. They're going to find a way. They're going to, like you said, create, go online and find a way to make pipe bombs. They're going to, sabotage whatever buildings they can get a hold of, whatever things that they can do to kill people and make their point. They're going to do it. They're going to use their car to run over people. They're going to stab people, and then they're going to shoot people. I think that something like that happened recently, didn't it?
Until we stop sensationalizing the people that do these acts, we're going to continue to have the same results every time. Just
Exactly.
like I've said, we keep putting these people up on a pedestal, giving them media time, giving them the news cycle. We continue to do that, we're going to keep getting the exact same results. It's until we choose to find the survivors, the victims, and you never mention the killer or the animal's name. You don't put that anywhere. Like what happened in Vegas. All you hear about these 2 people that shot at people. You didn't hear about the concealed carry guy who actually engaged with.
His name is Joseph Wilcox, and we mention him.
Yep.
But that don't
the dude's a freaking hero. That's who we should talk about.
Exactly. Those should be the people that are sensationalized. But it harkens back to, we need to worry about everybody instead of just worrying about ourselves.
Yep. And again, this is the type of law that who's it going to hurt? Only those regular type of law-abiding gun owners. That's the sad part in this deal. But we're going to move on to another story here, which I find humorous. That probably goes along with everything we've been talking about.
I feel like we just had the most epic rant that's ever been said on This Week in Guns by Ebbs.
We did. And for those that are curious why you're not, he dropped his mic and walked away from his computer. So we can't even hear him anymore. But moving on to our next story here, we have another Jack in the Box in Texas was robbed at gunpoint after the chain says no to guns. Yes.
Another one.
Now 2 Jack in the Boxes. You'd think the scary smiley face would scare him enough with a sign, but another one was robbed, and this happened June 9th at 2 a.m. A white male subject held employees at gunpoint shortly after 2 a.m. at the Jack in the Box on North Main in Liberty, which is outside of Houston. Second time. Coincidence? Totally.
Here's my question. Why did they give a description of the guy when they should have just given a description of the gun? I mean, if that's the problem, that's who we should be giving descriptions on. Lock them up.
It was a black gun that had the high-capacity magazines.
Clips.
Magazine clips.
If you tell these people these are gun-free zones, that's all the criminals are going to hearken to because they know it's easy pickings. Criminals are not smart. They're not inventive. It's not like the movies where you see them in heat running down the street, shooting up the block, stealing millions of dollars. All they want to do is run in, do a quick stick-up, and get out. They're cool for $5 or $500. But the second you make it easier, you've just put a target on your back.
Yep.
So can I just say that I love Jack in the Box, and it breaks my heart that they're making their delicious deep-fried tacos easier to be stolen, and that our Jack in the Boxes around here haven't put up no gun signs. So I don't know. I
said this last night on the Practically Tactical show. Those places in the state of Indiana where I'm at, we fortunately do not have any language in the laws that allows businesses to actually put signs up that carry legal weight. Now, private property owners obviously have their rights, and with my principles, I will respect their rights. If you put up a sign that says no firearms are allowed on here, I will go ahead and avoid your business. I'll find somewhere else to go, because in my town, there's somewhere else to go. There are other places for me to seek out that respect my right to protect myself, my family, and the loved one, and innocents around me. And frankly, I'm not going to be the guy that drops a note off that says, you lost a business because of this, or I'm not going to be the guy that openly says, I'm not going to go to this business because you have a sign that says no guns. I'm just not going to go there.
That's the smartest way. It's, again, voting with
I'm just not going to go there. I'll just go the other places. And, if I happen to engage the manager in conversation, I'll say, hey, and if it happens to get to what I do for a living, usually people ask me, well, what do you do? Oh, I teach people how to shoot. That's what I do. Oh, really? It's like, yeah, I carry a firearm every day. And it's like, oh, really? I'm like, and I want to thank you for not putting up any kind of signage that prevents me from doing that service to society and upholding that responsibility that I have taken upon myself to protect myself, my loved ones, and those innocent around me with the firearm that I carry. And I appreciate that. And I will continue to patronize your business so long as you respect that right. And I just want to thank you for that again. And it doesn't happen all the time. And there are some businesses that don't have signs up that the owner may be, against people owning guns or carrying guns or whatever, but they don't actively pursue a policy against it. And then again, I'll still support them because they don't actively pursue a policy against it. I will never actively campaign against a business for making that decision. I just simply won't go there. And that's it. I'm not going to go on their Facebook page and comment about them and say that they're the worst place ever and that they have rats. I'm not going to do that. I'm just simply not going to go there. And I'll share with my friends. I'll say, hey man, so and so restaurant in my town doesn't support the lawful carry of firearms on their premises. So just if you want to avoid them, such and such business that sells this doesn't do that either, so avoid them as well. But again, I'm not going to actively pursue that. I'm just going to not go there, and that's the most I'm going to do at this point. So.
Well, and I should also mention here, there was not just one other incident. There's actually two other incidences. One was also in Houston. The other one was in Tennessee, and people were actually shot.
In Jack in the Box in Tennessee?
Yeah.
J and the B.
I'm assuming somebody didn't put their bacon on a sandwich, and then that can happen.
I wanted soft tacos.
Let's move on to something maybe a little happier here. Yeah, I know. New Illinois bank not only lets tellers carry guns.
It's Illinois.
It's Illinois, because I'm from Wisconsin, so I have to annoy them.
No, it's Illinois.
It uses signs to announce it that they're carrying, and it's either even offering to pay for employees' concealed carry licenses.
Yes.
Obviously, there's been a string of bank robberies throughout southern Illinois, and a bank in Marion, Illinois, or Illinois, if you're from Wisconsin, is actively telling that their tellers can carry guns. What do you guys think?
You need to know that there's a federal penitentiary in Marion, Illinois, right off Highway 57, and it's not that far east of St. Louis. So it's nice to see, based on locale, that they're allowing some sensibility in that bank. That's pretty cool.
I think I will commend the manager to the end of time for his hand in helping implement this policy. Whether obviously this place is not a corporate bank. This is a private bank or credit union, whatever it is, to set this. But any of those employees at that bank that wish to receive professional firearms training, if you happen to be listening to the show, email me personally, and I'll make sure I set you up with some good training. We'll get you guys set up with some sort of discount, either with us at Range Time or somewhere in the industry that can actually help you guys out, because I fully support you guys being able to defend yourselves and being trained properly to do so.
Great plug. That was fantastic. We'll move on to one of our last stories here. I love this story.
I'm not beyond that. Okay, so I'm not beyond that. Come train with me. Give me your money.
So,
was that supposed to be Bill Cosby or?
The pudding pops. Come and get some training with Range Time and get your training. Yeah, dude, I don't have anything.
Your next channel trailer, you need to do that and get a Bill Cosby sweater too.
Oh man,
totally do it.
Not in the summer, no way. Not Indiana in the summer. Well, no way.
On the exit, you need to do the Carlton.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. But
All right, we gotta move on to our last story here. So the plans of a robber went completely wrong when he pulled out a toy gun to a store clerk in Dallas. So at 4 a.m. on Saturday, officers responded to a disturbance at racetrack on Northwest Highway. Police say the 22-year-old suspect, Anthony Bell, walked into a gas station and pulled a gun on the clerk. The cashier employee working at the time realized that the gun was a toy and began to beat up the suspect. Bell was arrested and transported to the hospital. Police say he is charged with robbery and second-degree felony.
You know what? If I looked at the guy and the guy was pointing a toy gun at me, I could obviously tell it was airsoft or like fake. I wouldn't even beat him. I would just start laughing at him. I'd be like, "Are you serious right now?" Like me personally, like with like knowing how to identify those things. I'd be like, "What? Like what? Like shoot me with your airsoft gun. What are you gonna do? Like dump your mag into me, bro."
That's adorable. Put it away.
So did he get what he deserved? Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
If you're going to try and commit a violent crime like that and try and fool someone and try and initiate this force upon another person while not using a actual deadly weapon. I'm not saying to make sure you got a deadly gun before you go to do this to someone. I'm saying that if you're going to be the kind of person that's going to be like, that's going to fake it, you better be prepared to get to get beat up. You better be prepared to have someone laugh at you because the firearms, culture is out there. Guys know what real guns look like, and at a second glance at a firearm, you can tell it's an airsoft gun or a fake, BB gun or whatever. They're gonna laugh at you, and they're gonna do exactly what happened in this instance, and they're gonna take matters in their own hands and make sure that you get subdued and are punished accordingly. So,
now, did you guys?
It's on you guys.
My favorite part of this is, did you guys look at the article, like the link? Did you guys look at it? To me, there's one glaring thing that sticks out on here, and I want to see if any of you guys caught it. Did you guys see it at all?
I didn't even read it. I'm sorry.
Stand by.
Oh.
Stand by.
Hold on. Let's all look at it for the first time.
Okay, hold on. I just uploaded it.
There's just one really glaring thing on this story that, to me, it just seems out of place.
In that picture, that skull was $3.69. Oh my god!
Not that. Anything else sticking out at you?
I didn't see a skull.
Skull.
Did anybody notice the security vehicle that they have in the story?
Skull.
It's a Prius.
Yes. Dirty Mike and the boys have been there. Dirty Mike and the boys.
Good reference. Can you see the security guard out the window just going, woo?
It's my first.
I don't have a siren, so I have to pretend.
It's my first brand new car.
This is just, I mean...
Thanks for the fuck shack.
Oh, all right. Downhill.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Farms.
So here's my thing is...
Because that's the great line from it.
Do you think maybe the guy just didn't know it was a fake gun and realized his security drives a Prius with a missing hubcap on the rear left wheel and just decided to take matter in his own hands?
I'm sorry, if you drive a Prius, you're instantly free game to get robbed. I mean, seriously, you should just, like, if somebody walks up and says hi, you should instantly hand over your man purse.
Even if it says security, you're not secure, just so you know.
No, because probably the most dangerous weapon he has is a bear spray can size of pepper spray and an old mag light.
I think you see like the guy comes out with a bear mace, shoots it off, it comes back, he's like, I got blowback! I can't.
All right, we're gonna pick
Bro, they got me.
We're gonna pick up one of our after show stories here to throw in here, because there was an update to the story that makes it even weirder, I think. So originally we had in zookeepers in Tenerife Zoo. I don't even know where that is. I think somewhere, I don't know, some island. They had to call an ambulance after a vet shot a tranquilizer dart at a man dressed as a gorilla in the zoo. I gotta think that you could tell the difference between a gorilla and a person in a suit.
Well, I mean, have you ever seen Changing Places or Trading Places with
at the end? Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, they can't tell. Well, the manifest says one. Yeah, but there's two in there.
But now there was an update to the story. But after we selected the story, there was an update to it. The zoo says the man shot with a tranquilizer dart at the zoo was not wearing a gorilla suit. So
What?
how did he get shot with a dart in the middle of a gorilla?
I'm sure what happened is that the zookeeper rolled in, looked at this guy, and was like, "Yep, you're not right. Yeah, you're dressed as a gorilla in a gorilla pen. I'm just gonna do this for fun." And tranked him. That's all.
Well, they updated the story saying the guy wasn't dressed as a gorilla.
There's
So
a
there was a
picture of a
guy-
guy in a gorilla suit.
Yeah,
Well,
look
what
under
if-
it though.
What if originally the guy was embarrassed enough because he had like a really hairy back or something, and they were like, "Listen, we don't want everybody to know that Stan actually looks like a gorilla without a shirt on. Let's say he was wearing a gorilla suit," and then it just got out and they couldn't cover it up anymore. They were like, "Sorry, Stan, you got a hairy back, bro." So that's, in fact, we were just picking on you when we shot you with the trank gun because you were ridiculously hairy and you work with gorillas, and it was too perfect not to.
What if they were just all bored, and playing like Russian roulette with a trank gun, and he just happened to be? They're like, "Listen, man.
Wait,
there's
how do you
nothing-
play Russian roulette with a trank gun? Most trank guns I've seen are like single load.
Listen, stop
CO2
questioning
guns.
and making this.
No, it's gonna be my next.
Go with it.
That's
What's
gonna be
on there?
that's gonna be Heckler and Koch's next striker fire.
Thank God, I've been waiting for it.
The single trank load, CO2 gas fired, striker fired, HK gun.
All right, guys. Well, Brownells helps make this show possible. Hopefully, they'll still be supporting the show after this. They're the
geez.
leading supplier of
Thanks,
firearms
Brownells.
accessories. The leading supplier of firearm accessories, gun parts, and gunsmith tools. Find it all at Brownells. Please visit thisweekinguns.com/Brownells. Also, did you know you can contribute to the FRN and This Week in Guns by shopping at Amazon? Click on any of the banners at This Week in Guns. That is our affiliate link, and a portion of what you buy will go to support the Firearms Radio Network. So let's move on to our pick of the week here before we wrap it up. Ebbs, what do you have to talk about?
Oh, Nick, I'm so glad you asked. I've posted this a couple times to my social media after getting it installed, but this is the AR pistol builders kit from
I saw that.
Thordson Customs. And if a lot of you have seen the New York compliant rifles that have come out in the last couple months, Black Rain was one of the first ones to get one out. Well, they have this ridiculous, funky-looking stock on it. It's like, hey, New York legislator, look, we can still have AR-15s, and it's this. It looks like a traditional stock of sorts from a regular, like a hunting rifle, and they put it on AR-15. And so what Thordson Custom also did is they have this extension that fits over the buffer tube, and then it takes a CAA saddle and an adapter so that the saddle fits to their buffer tube cover, and it's actually pretty sweet. It's about an inch longer than, say, the Phase 5 tube. I'm not even going to get them on the
Yeah.
Oh
They're
my
in
God,
there.
there's so many pistols in there.
camera to get. There's a lot of pistols in this joint,
So many
but it's
pistols
about
in this
an inch longer. So if you were wanting to do something with your AR pistol, like shoulder it, and you think the SIG brace is ridiculous, this
Which
might
is
be
not, which is
good,
pretty
good
awesome.
option. Yeah, we can argue on that, but so anyway, ThordsonCustoms.com falls at about half the price of a SIG brace, and install is pretty simple, and even comes. They've got a link to a PDF on their site where the ATF tech branch says this is not a rifle stock. So by putting this on here, I do not have an SBR.
Ebbs, is
So-
it adjustable for length of pull?
It is absolutely not.
Short, simple. How you like that?
That's so funny. Sam, what do you have to talk about?
I was kind of blindsided before the show. I hadn't talked about a lot of things, so what I'm going to talk about now is the
Your EDC clothes?
no.
Listen, just
Not
tell
my-
me what you were going to buy. And you're going to use Amazon and help support FRN by buying.
It's in the FRN wish list right now. You can go check it out. It's my EDC outfit I wear pretty much every day. No, what I'm going to talk about right now is actually a new light that just got released from Enforce. Enforce is known for their WML series lights and their APL lights. Yeah, exactly what Ebbs there has on his SIG, except for on a rifle. Yeah, we all like Surefire. Surefire makes great products. We all know that. But as does Enforce. All right, Enforce has the new WML-X, is a 500 lumen version of their WML. The WML is famous. I have one on my rifle. I've run it for well over 2 years now. Through various courses, never had a problem with it. Thing's great. The only problem is it doesn't get quite enough throw for me outdoors. What I need is a little more brightness, a little more power behind the light. And what they've done now is they've released their WML-X, which is a 500 lumen version that uses 2 CR1238 batteries. Very much the same design as the WML with the integrated Picatinny rail mount. It does have the integrated safety lever there for preventing negligent light discharges at any time. It has a lever here on the other side that you can actually flip for either constant on or a strobe. And then you can flip the lever again, which you would be used to turning the IR mode on, but now on the WML-X, it actually activates the momentary only mode. So now all you have is a press on, let go, press turn off mode, and Ebbs is again miming that again for me in his screen. Thank you very much for showing me the black light. The other color it comes in FDE and in black there. I think it's a graphite type color. So again, the WML-X from Enforce, cool option there. Really compact for a 500 lumen light. Not quite as small as the X300 Ultra, but again, a really good option for the price from Enforce.
All right, and Adam, you got something really cool to talk about here.
I'm not going to say it's the coolest thing on here, but I'm going to say it's probably the coolest thing on here.
I might agree with that. Don't tell anyone, though.
Yeah. What I'm going to say is that the Griffin Armament, this is their Revolution 9 suppressor.
Yes.
I know Ebbs is a huge fan of the Griffin Armament suppressors because he's going to be a future owner. And what's nice about this can is it's multi-caliber use. You can shoot 300 blackout subsonics through it. You can shoot 9mm, and it's convertible. You can actually make it as short as this brake line, or you can make it as long as the full size is now. You can thread it 5 or half by 28, or you can make it a Trilog MP5 adapter. You're going to get 34 decibel reduction. It weighs 11, like right at 11 ounces, 11.1. Mil-spec grade 3 hard anodizing, all made in the great state of Wisconsin. They're available now from dealers, and they only run about $700 to $750.
That's a really, really good, versatilely priced can on the market, guys. You know, I have a very, very beginner style relationship right now with Griffin Armament. I run their flash comp on my rifle, but all their suppressors are extremely appealing, guys. So anyone out there that's looking for a versatile suppressor for a good price, made in the United States, that's made out, of quality components and really, really lots of thought put behind the design, should definitely look at Griffin Armament for sure.
They are longer rated, and they do carry a lifetime warranty. And it's fully user disassembled, so you can take the entire baffles out, clean them, do whatever you want through them. It's a great can. Like I said, 34 decibel reduction. If you guys get a chance, you can go on Griffin Armament's YouTube and check out the video featuring my gun and my can. So, it's a great package. They shoot really good, and I love it. This thing is quiet as all get out.
Yeah, the link to that video is in the show notes. For my thing here, guys, I'm not going to be showing because it's going to be not that great, but I have easy to see targets. For when I talked about earlier about Practically Tactical on Target, just recorded a show that will be coming out on podcast here in a couple weeks. But basically, if you go to our website, ez2ctargets.com, use the code word Practically Tactical, put that all together, 10% off your order and shipping. So we're going to wrap it up here. So please, guys, leave your feedback by commenting on the bottom of this YouTube video or on the bottom of the show notes at thisweekinguns.com/072. Also, please leave us an iTunes review. You can get to that at thisweekinguns.com/iTunes. Also, contribute to the show by using our Brownells affiliate link by going to thisweekinguns.com/Brownells or the Amazon affiliate link by clicking on the Amazon banners on the website. So, Adam, thank you very much for coming on. Really appreciate it, buddy. You rock.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. And I said at the beginning, and I'll say it again, I agree. Best panel ever. Everybody here is really smart. They can articulate their views, and all of us have really solid political grounds. And we're all just awesome people. So, again, best panel ever.
I mean, I'll just say I wake up in the morning and piss excellence. So, I mean,
I'll know what to
pretty
do with
much.
my hands.
I don't know what to do
The
with my-
car ran real good.
And Ebbs, man, I think you had the most epic. I'm not gonna say it's a rant. I'm gonna say it was a speech on the lines of Abraham Lincoln. I think.
No.
Yeah,
It was
I mean,
up there.
it'll be up there. It'll be, yeah,
No.
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh yeah. Every now and then you catch the perfect storm of anger and an opportunity, and they just present themselves perfectly. So I think that's all that was.
But for those that are listening, maybe never heard of you, Ebbs, where do they find you on YouTube?
YouTube is simple. It's youtube.com/houseofguns or /user/houseofguns. And house is a little tricky. You can see it in the lower third here on my screen, but it says house, Haus of guns.com. Website for the same name, so you'll get a little bit more written reviews, in-depth, high-res photographs, and a lot of opinion, too, from the main website.
All right, check that out. I should have mentioned too, Adam Pini of we mentioned at the beginning of the show of American Defense Manufacturing. Obviously, be sure to check them out. If you don't know who they are, you're not using the right optics mounts. So check them out. Then of course we have Sam from Range Time. Where can they find you at online?
All right, you can find me at www.rangetimets.com. That's our our official website with our full training schedule and whatnot. You can send me an email at sam@rangetimets.com if you have any questions about training. Or otherwise, you can find us on YouTube at www.youtube.com/user/Corey07Inc. I don't think you can change the name, so that's what it is forever and ever. But the channel name is Range Time TS. You can find us on there. So yeah, that's how you can find us.
All right, and for all you guys out there, come out to this or go to thisweekingun.com/072. I'll make sure to get the links to all these guys in there. They're all fantastic guys, absolute fantastic gun guys, and a lot of these guys make some pretty darn good YouTube videos or appear in YouTube videos pretty darn good as well. So, and for those that maybe Adam sounds familiar. If that 300-pound tannerite tree explosion, he was the gunman. The shooter,
gunman?
I should say. The
The
shooter.
gunman?
Yep, I hold the current world record, so anybody who's up for the challenge, I will beat you anytime you want.
Well, I was trying to think. I almost tried to mix his Instagram with something, and it just came out bad. But
Yeah, follow me on Instagram, Adam_PINI. You can check us out at American Defense Manufacturing.com. You know, all that snazzy jazz.
Well, I guess I better plug my Instagram then too, because obviously I'm awesome as well. So go ahead and find me on Instagram, Sam_RTTS. Very easy to find, Sam_RTTS. Give me a follow. Adam is a good guy to follow because he puts up funny pictures all the time of like stuff. So there you go.
What are you talking about? It's like either funny pictures or like machine guns or silencers or just the general awesomeness that is my
Machine
life.
guns and silencers are stupid, so I don't even know.
Yeah, smell that? That's a little peanut butter and jelly right there.
Ebbs, you're on Instagram too, I hope. And you're muted. And
I made it through the whole show without doing that. We just went from arguing about a man in a gorilla costume to this.
Yep.
And I am on Instagram. Everything is House of Guns. HAUSOFGUNS. Instagram, Twitter.
So what if I search
Facebook.
HOUSE of guns?
I don't know. Let's find out real quick.
Ooh.
on
Where
that
is
note,
the
guys,
house?
we
Where's the
gotta get
house?
out of here. We gotta get out of here.
I think
so.
I own that too, but I don't remember. Yeah, I own it too.
Okay.
There's nothing there.
Well, thank you guys very much for listening, and I will hopefully be back in 2 weeks to also guest host again if I'm allowed to. So, and I have another.
The same panel.
The same panel. We'll be back next time, and I have on. Who do I have on? I have our buddies from Four Guys Guns and Chaos 311. So it's going to be another epic panel. So take care, guys, and thanks for listening.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-byes.
Bye.
Oh, my
It's
God, I
never
can't
going to
keep going.
stop going.